13 car maintenance tips mechanics don't want you to know. Many drivers spend a fortune without realizing it, trusting that the mechanic will inform them about everything. However, the reality is that there are simple maintenance tricks you can do yourself that they don't want you to know. Why? Because it means fewer visits to the shop and more money in your pocket. Want to learn how to choose the ideal oil? Plus, you'll avoid unexpected battery failures and extend your vehicle's lifespan for years. In this video, we'll reveal secrets that will completely change the way you maintain your car, including how to reset the maintenance light. Before we continue, we want to invite you to subscribe. Give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends so they can discover these secrets too, and don't forget to activate the bell. Number 1. The dreaded maintenance lights. Those dreaded warning lights can drive even the calmest driver into a state of anxiety. That's why we rush to the shop, worried about a problem that often doesn't exist, as most of the time, it's just a mileage-based reminder. These lights are designed to alert us about routine maintenance, a fact mechanics know but often don't share with you, making you believe your vehicle has a serious issue. Generally, these signals activate to remind you it's time for a checkup or preventive maintenance. They can notify you about the need for an oil change, checking tire pressure, or even indicating that the car requires a general checkup. Many of these requirements are tasks you can manage yourself, like checking tire pressure and adding air if necessary. If the brake light comes on, it could indicate worn brake pads or low brake fluid levels. Check the brake fluid reservoir. If the level is low, you can top it up to the recommended mark. If the light persists, then you indeed need to check the brake system. If one of these lights activates and you've done the proper maintenance, you can reset it without visiting the mechanic. Most vehicles allow you to do this easily. Generally, you need to turn the key to the on position without starting the engine. Then hold down the reset button on the dashboard, the one you rarely touch, and wait a few seconds until the light blinks or goes off. This way, you can continue as if nothing happened. If this procedure doesn't work, an OBD2 scanner can solve the problem. Just connect it to the vehicle's diagnostic port and select the corresponding option. However, before clearing any warning light, make sure the problem is truly resolved. You don't want to clear an important warning and have an unpleasant surprise in the middle of a trip. Number 2. The brake system. The brake system is like that good friend who's always there when you need them, until one day they stop responding and give you a good scare. Fortunately, there are several things you can do yourself to keep it in order without running to the mechanic every time you hear a strange noise. First, check the brake fluid level. If it's low, your car might be hinting that something's wrong. Just make sure to use the correct type of fluid, not orange juice or holy water, and not leave the reservoir open for too long, as it absorbs moisture and loses effectiveness. It's also a good idea to check the brake pads from time to time. If you peek through the wheels and see they're thinner than a sheet of paper, it's time to change them before the disc suffers the consequences. So, when should you call the mechanic? Simple. If you feel vibrations when braking, if the brake pedal sinks more than usual, if the car pulls to one side when braking, or if you see any fluid leaks, don't hesitate and go to the mechanic. Always remember to ask for help when you need it. It's better to be safe than sorry, and you don't mess around with brakes. Number 3. Check the coolant level. The coolant level is like the hydration system for your car. As long as it's in good condition, the engine can stay cool and happy. But if you neglect it, get ready for a drama like a soap opera, with overheating, steam starting to come out, and even a possible visit to the mechanic. Luckily, checking the coolant level is easier than it seems. You just need to open the hood, always with the engine cold to avoid burns. Next, follow these steps. Identify the coolant reservoir and check that the levels are between the min and max marks. If they're low, add coolant, but be careful. You must use the correct type according to the manufacturer's specifications to avoid major problems. So when should you go to the mechanic? If you notice the level drops frequently, there's reason to worry. You might have a leak, a damaged hose, or another problem, even in the radiator. It's also not a good sign if the coolant is a strange color, brown, or has floating particles, as it could mean it's dirty or contaminated. Lastly, if you start noticing the car tends to overheat more than usual, with engine temperatures rising like a thermometer in the desert, don't hesitate to take it to the mechanic. Number 4. Check the shocks, springs, and struts. Taking care of your shocks, springs, and struts might seem like a mechanic's job, but you can do something yourself without going to a shop. Observe how your car moves. If every bump makes you feel like you're on a roller coaster, something's wrong. Is there fluid leaking from the shocks? Are the springs rusty or broken? Are the struts bent or damaged? If so, better take it to an expert. You can try the bounce test. Press down on a corner of the car and let go. If it bounces more than twice, the shocks might be worn out. When should you go to the shop? Simple. If the car moves too much, you hear strange noises when going over bumps, the tires wear unevenly, or the car leans a lot when turning, call the mechanic. Also, if you see the shocks leaking fluid, or if the springs are broken or very rusty when inspecting them, or if the struts are bent after checking them, it's better to avoid problems. The suspension is very important. Remember that a bad suspension not only makes the ride uncomfortable, but also affects control, a serious matter. Number 5. Batteries can last longer than they say. The heart of your car is its battery. Without it, everything that uses electricity in your car will stop working. Normally, a battery lasts 3 to 5 years, but you can extend its life with good care, which you can do yourself. First, check the terminals, those metal parts where the cables connect. If you see a whitish or greenish layer, it's corrosion, and that blocks the energy. With a bit of baking soda, water, and an old toothbrush, you can give them a clean and make them shine. Also, make sure the cables are as tight as a happy marriage, because if they're loose, you might have a capricious car that refuses to start when you least expect it. It's important to check the battery's charge. If you notice the lights are dim or flickering, if it struggles to start, it's likely losing power. With the help of a multimeter, you can see if your battery is still alive. If you leave your car unused for a long time, start it once a week so the battery doesn't completely discharge. With a bit of care, your battery can keep working like new for longer than you imagine. If your battery is over 3 years old and the car struggles to start, or the lights flicker like crazy, or you see the battery is swollen or leaking suspicious fluid, change it. You could end up stranded at any moment. Number 6. Get more performance from your spark plugs. Spark plugs are the magic sparks that bring your engine to life. Without them, goodbye power. Your car will be a giant paperweight. Luckily, taking care of them is easy. You don't need to be a magician. From time to time, take a look at them. Make sure they're not dirty or worn out. If you see carbon or grime, clean them with a brush and some spark plug cleaner. It's crucial to check that the electrodes aren't too worn or bent, as that can affect starting and make the engine run irregularly. A good trick is to check that the spark plug wires are perfect and undamaged, because if there are problems there, the engine can misfire or consume more fuel than necessary. If your car has trouble starting, seems sluggish, consumes more fuel, or the engine shakes, the spark plugs might be worn out and need replacing. If you're not up for it, better call a mechanic to fix it without complications. Regular spark plugs usually last between 30,000 and 50,000 kilometers. Platinum ones up to 100,000, and iridium ones, don't even get me started. They exceed 160,000 kilometers. Their lifespan, however, depends a lot on how you handle and care for them. Also, remember that spark plugs can fail for other reasons, like using bad fuel or problems in the car's electrical system. Number 7. Stop overfilling the gas tank. Imagine this scene. We fill the gas tank, and sometimes we overdo it a bit. It might seem silly, but overfilling the tank has unexpected consequences. First, gas tanks come with a ventilation system to release fuel vapor. If we overfill, we block the system and let vapor build up pressure inside the tank, leading to more fuel leaks. Second, gasoline is a liquid that expands when heated. If you fill the tank to the brim and leave it exposed to warm weather, the fuel tends to spill. This therefore results in a double loss because besides wasting fuel, it's also risky because fuel is flammable. Another potential problem is that excessive fuel can enter your car's emission control system. Emission controls are meant to contain fuel vapors that escape into the air. So when filling the tank, don't go beyond the line. Better safe than sorry. Your car will thank you. Number 8. Keep your tires at the right pressure. Maintaining the correct air pressure in your tires isn't just a technical matter. It's a question of safety, economy, and comfort. With the right pressure, the car has better grip on the road. The brakes work as they should, and fuel economy stays at acceptable levels. With less air than necessary, rolling resistance increases, the engine works harder, and in the end, you spend more fuel than necessary. On the other hand, tires wear unevenly and can overheat, increasing the risk of blowouts while driving. If there's too much air, the tread doesn't contact the road evenly, reducing traction and making the ride rough and uncomfortable. Measuring tire pressure is very easy, and you don't need a mechanic to do it. You just need a pressure gauge, a tool you can easily get at an auto parts store. To measure tire pressure, remove the valve cap, place the gauge, and check the reading. Then compare it to the recommended pressure by the manufacturer, usually indicated on a sticker on the driver's door or in the car's manual. If the pressure is low, go to a gas station or air compressor and inflate to the necessary level. If it's too high, you can release some air by pressing the valve until you reach the correct measure. So now you know the importance of maintaining the correct air pressure in your tires for longer lasting tires and safe, comfortable trips. Number 9. Replace air filters regularly. In cars, air filters have a very important function, which is to prevent dust, dirt, and other impurities from entering the engine. When the filter is in good condition, the engine breathes better, resulting in better engine performance, more efficient acceleration, and balanced fuel consumption. Over time, these filters fill with dust and dirt, which can affect airflow and make the engine work harder. A dirty air filter can reduce the car's power, increase fuel consumption, and even affect emissions. That's why it's important to change air filters regularly before the engine starts to suffer. The interval for changing filters depends on the car's usage and the environment in which it operates. Under normal conditions, it's recommended to change the filter every 15,000 to 30,000 kilometers. Although if you drive on dusty roads or in highly polluted areas, you might need to do it more frequently. The best part is that changing the air filter is one of the easiest maintenance tasks, and you don't need a mechanic to do it. In most cars, you just need to open the filter box, remove the old one, put in the new one, and close it again. It's a process that only takes a few minutes and can make a big difference in engine performance. Keeping the air filter clean is one of those small things that help the car run better, consume less fuel, and last longer without problems. Number 10. Check the PCV valve. The PCV valve, or positive crankcase ventilation, is a small but significant component of the engine that helps control gases generated in the crankcase. Its function is to recirculate these vapors and direct them to the intake to be burned during combustion, instead of being released into the environment. Basically, it's a system that improves engine efficiency while reducing emissions. Knowing if the PCV valve isn't working can be a bit tricky, but there are some signs that can indicate its condition. If you notice increased oil consumption, oil leaks, or the engine running irregularly, it could be a sign that the PCV valve needs replacing. If you hear an unusual whistle or the engine has low performance, it's advisable to check the valve. The valve replacement depends on the manufacturer's recommendations and the vehicle's usage conditions. However, it's recommended to change it between 50,000 to 80,000 kilometers. But if there are signs of failure before the recommended time, it's advisable to check and replace it if necessary. Replacing the valve isn't complicated, and in many cases, you can do it yourself without needing a mechanic. Usually, you just need to locate the valve, disconnect the hose, and install the new one. However, in some models, access might be difficult, and in those cases, it's better to leave the job to a mechanic. Keeping the valve in optimal condition is key to maintaining the engine's health and preventing serious problems in the future. Number 11. Check hoses and belts. Checking the vehicle's hoses and belts is very important to avoid unpleasant surprises on the road. Hoses carry essential fluids like coolant or oil, while belts, such as the timing and serpentine belts, keep essential engine parts running, like the alternator, water pump, or power steering. If any of these fail, the car fails too. Overheating, loss of power, and even the car can come to a complete stop. Over time, hoses can become brittle, crack, or leak, leading to engine overheating or loss of coolant pressure. As for belts, they can lose tension, loosen, break, etc., and can cause anything from a simple power steering failure to severe engine damage, especially if it's the timing belt. The replacement time for these components depends on the vehicle type, where, and how the vehicle is used. In general, hoses should be checked every 20,000 kilometers and replaced every 4 to 5 years or sooner if signs of wear or damage are observed. For belts, consider the specific model. The serpentine belt usually lasts between 60,000 to 100,000 kilometers, while the timing belt can last between 80,000 to 150,000 kilometers, depending on the manufacturer. Changing a hose is easy, and if you have some practice, you can do it without a mechanic. But belts require more precision and specific tools, especially the timing belt, as a bad adjustment can damage the engine. If you can change the serpentine belt yourself if you have experience, it's better to have a professional change the timing belt. Checking these elements can help save you money and get you home safely without getting stranded in the middle of nowhere. Number 12. Don't waste your money on additives. Additive treatments for vehicles can be useful but aren't necessarily essential. Nowadays, most oils, fuels, and car fluids already contain these compounds that can enhance engine and other car component performance. The use of additives depends on the specific area of the car you want to improve. Engine oil additives can help reduce friction and wear in high-mileage engines. Fuel additives can clean injectors and improve the process, especially in vehicles that have used low-quality fuels or haven't received maintenance. There are also transmission additives that help smooth gear shifts to maximize component durability. In general terms, it's not very appropriate to overuse them or use additives for vehicles without any justified need. If the vehicle is in good condition and has received proper maintenance on schedule, most additives won't make a difference. Using additives for vehicles can help in certain situations, but won't replace regular maintenance and good practices. In this sense, it's best to see additives as a complement to our actions, not a miracle solution for problems that may exist in mechanical components. Number 13. Change engine oil and transmission fluid on time. Replacing engine oil and transmission fluid is essential for the vehicle's proper functioning and longevity. Engine oil acts as a lubricant and thermal conductor, but it will get contaminated over time, which could damage the engine. Transmission fluid allows the system to function correctly, and its degradation can cause rough gear shifts and poor vehicle performance. Undoubtedly, engine oil needs to be changed because it gets contaminated, loses viscosity, and can no longer lubricate or cool. Old engine oil could cause overheating, increased fuel consumption, or even premature wear of parts. Degraded transmission fluid could cause rough gear shifts, premature transmission wear, or even a severe failure. Regarding the frequency of these changes, it's recommended to replace engine oil every 5,000 to 10,000 kilometers, depending on the oil used and driving conditions. Transmission fluid changes are recommended every 30,000 to 60,000 kilometers. However, if you notice it has a dark color or smells burnt, it's advisable to change it sooner. Newer vehicles may have longer intervals, so it's always best to check the owner's manual. Closure. Diagnosing simple vehicle problems without going to a mechanic isn't as complicated as it may seem. Often the car gives clear symptoms that something might not be working well, and paying attention to these symptoms can save you time and a lot of money. That's it for now. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Share the link with your friends and contacts so they can also learn these 13 car maintenance tips mechanics don't want you to know. And if you haven't already, follow us on our channel and activate notifications so you don't miss any of our updates. See you in the next video.